Okay, well, this is Leslie. How are you today? We're going to talk about 4 different zones related to you and zones related to your knowledge, your competence in whatever you do in your current job and how it will play into the legal field. Okay, so um, when I started out, I definitely had the number one zone, the zone of incompetence. Yes, I did. And why is that? Why would I say that? Well, because going into the legal field, there are things you do every day that no school teaches you, that no certificate program teaches you. I can attest to that. And so you go into the job and you feel incompetent. And you have knowledge in other things related to the job in the maybe computers and that type of thing, but you have a section of this that is incompetence, and slowly you will build up a level of competence in the legal field of knowledge. Okay, and yes, you have to give yourself a little bit of time to add those to your repertoire. But you can learn a lot of this, and this is what I call the practical side of being a paralegal that isn't really taught anywhere else. That's why I developed my class, Paralegal Inner Circle class. I needed help in that area, but there was no help to be found. 31 years ago when I entered this field, there was no help to be found, not in a degree program, and there was one, and not in a certificate program. There were no certificate programs 31 years ago, but there was a degree program. Yet it was taught by somebody who had never practiced law a day in the life. So how do you know how to teach somebody how to become competent in that workplace? You can't. If you haven't managed cases, if you haven't done those things, then that teacher cannot teach you. So they don't have that knowledge to teach you. So you go in, if you don't have that knowledge, you go in with a high level of incompetence into this field, which I definitely went in with a high level of incompetence. So I wanted to help people not feel that way. You still go in and you still will not know things, and you have to have an open mind towards that. So that's the first level, okay, of competence, or of having knowledge. There's a whole section where you don't have it. Number 2, and by the way, this thing called Zone of Genius, this comes from a book by Gay, Gay Hendricks, and the book is called The Big Leap. So what's the zone? This is number 2, the zone of competence, is when you are highly skilled in certain areas. Now, I knew I had great typing skills. I was a very good proofreader, although I could get lazy and miss things. But I was overall a great proofreader. I didn't depend just on spell check. I was able to organize well and section things out here or on paper, so I could achieve the end game, the end goal for the day. Okay, zone number 3, and number 2 for the high level of competence. What do you know how to do? I say that if you've binge watched a lot of my videos, I ask you that all the time. What do you know how to do to work in an office and to help the attorney? Very important to ask yourself. So number 3 is the zone of excellence, where there's something that you are particularly skilled at, and you know it. You know you're good at it, and you like it so much that you've learned how to do other things in it. What is that? What's your zone of excellence? All that in particular If it relates to working in this field, especially, this is something that needs to be on your resume. If it's software that you are an expert in, Microsoft Word, which, by the way, you want to get to expert status. You don't have to be an expert going in, but you have to know some advanced skills because there's no time to learn it on the job. So what are those things that you are, or one thing that you are particularly good at? For me, one of the things is making the client feel welcome, that I have their back. I can't give them advice because I'm not a licensed attorney. Remember that one. I cannot practice law because I don't have my law license. Remember that. So how I help them is with extreme warmth and kindness, and that they have a listening ear. I can't stay on the phone too much, though, because I have work to do. So I can't become a counselor. The attorney is the legal counselor on the job, but I can be kind. And that's where my excellence comes in. How about you? Where is your zone of excellence? Now, the last one is the zone of genius, where, what is it? Are you detail oriented? Are you able to grab all those details and make sure everything is covered? So important in the legal field. We have to multitask all day long. So where's your zone of genius in that area? I was given a task one Friday that by Monday morning I had to be really knowledgeable about a particular software. And I took it on. I took on the challenge. It was one of the senior partners telling me I had to become an expert. I had no idea why, that I would be on a phone call that Monday with an attorney I had never known, met, talked to, and actually grilling the attorney about his knowledge of this software. So because I found the software interesting, I downloaded a demo and I went after it, took notes, I studied all weekend. And by the time and I didn't know I was going to be on a phone call. So preparing like that, is that your zone of genius? Will you step up to the challenge? Will you do it and just take a deep dive into it, whatever that challenge is on the job, instead of running away from it? So what is your zone of genius? Do you accept challenges? Do you run away from them, or will you take a deep dive? Yeah, so think about each of these zones. Where are you deficient? Where are you competent? What do you excel at? And where are you totally genius? Like, what are you good at? When I talk about your giftings, so many of these go back to that. And I want you to take a notebook out. I've got mine right here. And write it down, each of these things. Number one, incompetence. Where do you need to, brush up, take a deep dive into new things? Competence, excellence, genius. Okay? And write those, write each one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and where do you stand on each of those? And go from there. That's where you make your plan on where you have to improve. And then you attack it and go forward, and you will land a job, the job of your dreams. So keep focused on that, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Take care.